So the portfolio was up 7.52% on the day. I took a decent position size on Roblox put options at market open following the trading plan that I had mentioned towards the middle to the end of my last video. That last video that I posted had so many phenomenal trading ideas. We had the upstart call option opportunity for the gap breakout. We had the Roblox gap close reversal to fill the gap below strategy. So here's the deal. I am going to teach you, I am going to share with you my favorite and best trading strategy into 2022, the gap close reversal to fill the gap below strategy. This is going to be the put option version. I'm going to teach it to you step by step, recapping this trade. This was a phenomenal trading opportunity that nearly hit my weekly goal in one single day. My account would have been up over 25% on the day if I would have just held those put options just 15 more minutes as Roblox stock crashed another 2 points very, very rapidly after I got out. I'm going to be explaining to you the mistakes that I made, what I could have done better, what I did right. This is going to be recapping the trade. I'm also going to be teaching you how to trade the best setups at the best prices. We're going to be going over the top stocks and my new trading plans heading into the rest of the week, right? So this is going to prepare you. We're going to be going over the SPY as well. So just make sure you stay to the end for that. Let's get right into it. Make sure you smash that like button and subscribe to this channel. Let's get into it. So in terms of Roblox, guys, if you watched my previous video towards the middle to end, you will find the trading idea on this. Let's go over the watch list trading plan that I had shared with members from yesterday to today. So right before the market closed, I had told members within Trader Society, this is the watch list where I post my trade ideas, my stock analysis in real time. I'd explained to them that Roblox stock should crash tomorrow to fill the gap from 28. The gap was actually at 28.50s. I don't think we'll miss out by waiting to buy puts, after a morning spike. So basically what I was telling them is I'm not going to swing trade it, even though the daily chart looks very, very bearish and we do have confirmation, because history shows that Roblox stock is known for having that morning spike. I'm going to be explaining to you that as well. So I told them I'm going to be waiting towards market open to buy puts after a morning spike. This is a full confidence A1 setup. I'll be sizing in bigger than normal. So about 20% of my portfolio will be my position size, right? And a max risk on that will be 3 to 5% of my portfolio. Max reward, if it's a 100% gainer, that's a 20% return on the portfolio. This was a 100% gainer. I sold way too soon for 27%. I'll be sharing with you my mistakes towards the end as well. So I'm right here at 4:23 a.m. in the pre-market. Pre-market opens up at 4 a.m. I said, if Roblox goes green to red, I'll scale into the $32 out of money strike puts. So if it goes from green to red on the day, at the time it was green, if it goes red, I'll scale into the $32 at the money put options that expire this Friday. And then some updates were at 8:46 a.m. Roblox looks so bearish, planning to buy puts on all rips, on all spikes into the open. My orders are pre-filled out. This is the best setup. And it's the only trade I'm interested in for market open because I believe it can crash big. A couple points on a stock like this is like 100% gainer. That's why I was so focused on Roblox and not SPY or anything else, because I believed it had the highest ROI and it was my most confident setup. I'm very familiar and very successful trading this stock using this strategy. And I also mentioned spreads can be a little bit wide. I'm going to be hitting the ask. And with that being said, let's get into the recap. So I bought the puts right here at 9:37 a.m. This was all live on stream as well. We had a phenomenal live trading session. And I bought the puts at 177. It was a $33 strike. I also got some out of money puts as well on stream. And then I sold those puts just 12 minutes later, 20 minutes later. I sold those puts 22 minutes later for a 25% win. And then I sold the rest for a 27% win. I'm going to be explaining to you why I sold too soon at 11 a.m. So with that being said, let's get into the recap. So why did I decide to buy Roblox put options? In terms of Roblox put options, the reason why is it's a gap close reversal to fill the gap that's waiting to fill below. So with that being said, you could see right here, there's a gap that's waiting to fill above at $34.88. And let me show you what previously happened at this same level. There was a gap to fill right here at $34.61. And you could see it filled the gap. And when it had its first red day, which was right here, it got absolutely crushed. And it sold off to $29.93 the same day. just a couple of days later, it hit new all-time lows at 2165. So what we call that is, we call that when a stock fills the gap and it fills the gap that's waiting to fill above. So this stock gapped down. It opened up lower than it previously closed. It came back up to this previous closing price. It filled the gap. Once it reacts as a resistance level, once it starts breaking down from this level, from this gap fill level, it's gonna have a reversal, and then it's gonna start to come back down to the next overall support levels, which are down towards here. And then it's gonna start to fill the gaps that are waiting to fill below. There's a gap to fill here. So in terms of the best way to use this pattern, to use this strategy that I'm showing you, you need an overreaction. This is an overreaction. See how there's a gap to fill at $34.88, and the stock sells off rapidly to new all-time lows at 2165. Then within just 4 days, it goes from 2165 all the way to 3643. That's what we call an overreaction. A big move in a short period of time. A big one-sided move in a short period of time, right? So it had the massive sell-off, and then you can see it spiked just as quickly as it crashed, right? So this is an overreaction. Look at what happened the last time it had an overreaction at this $34 level right here. It bottomed in the 29s, had an overreaction, shot up to fill this gap, and then it had a reversal, sold off hard. History repeats itself. Use the daily chart as your guide in terms of history repeating itself, right? So this is what the best setup looks like. You have an overreaction to the upside. The stock gaps up. It's even better if it gaps up with the overreaction. So an overreaction spike, it gaps up, which makes the trade way better. And then when it fills this gap, you wait for it to react as a resistance level. If it starts breaking out above, you don't do anything. You wait for it. You wait for the backside of the move. You wait for the backside of the move. You wait for that gap fill level to react as a resistance level. My watch list had given this plan out where you could have bought puts right here. I decided to sit on the sidelines because it was midday and I didn't want to trade in terms of, this setup. I just stayed away from it. I waited till today to trade it. But in terms of the back side of the move, I'm going to show you how you can determine when the stock is going to have that back side of the move, so you can start scaling in and start sizing into the put options. The put options I'm typically day trading are the at the money strikes, the ones closest to the stock price, and the expiration is typically the closest, the first expiration that's lined up, if not the second expiration that's lined up, right? So with that being said, this is the gap fill level right here. This is where the gap was waiting to fill. The initial reaction was it breaks out on the first pullback, it bottoms at the level, which is bullish. It's holding above the level. Then it starts to break out, right? So you don't do anything. You wait for it to break down and react as a resistance level. So what are some confirmations? Right here, it's starting to react as a resistance. See how it cracks? And now the highs of these candles are reacting as resistance. It's forming lower highs. It's forming lower highs, and it starts to crack. Once it starts to crack the support, it's going to sell off hard. That's the backside of the move. When it reacts as a resistance, when it starts breaking down, when it starts turning this little support that started reacting as resistance right here into resistance, which it did right here, right? See the support below the level? See the resistance is at the level? That's bearish. Lower high, lower high. Once this support right here reacts as a resistance, strong confirmation to start scaling into puts, right? So in terms of gap closer versus strategy, you would buy the puts in this situation. When it starts breaking down here, when it starts forming lower highs right here, ride it back down to the previous closing price. Boom, you could have banked on that 2 days in a row. So in terms of what my game plan was, I was looking at this and I was saying, you know what? We are in the process of a gap close reversal to fill the gap below, right? So I looked right here. The stock filled the gap right here. Next day had the first red day. On the first red day, it sold off hard. It closed weak at the lows. So I told myself, this is an extremely bearish confirmation. This is a swing trading confirmation for me. The reason why I didn't swing trade it was I studied the history of Roblox, and it tends to have a morning spike the next day before selling off. So I told myself I'm going to play it safe. So this is a bearish candlestick. This is a bearish trend reversal candlestick. It's almost the gravestone doji, right? This is a very bearish candlestick at a gap fill level with big downside potential. It had the overreaction. There's a gap to fill below at 28.58. What I'm showing you is the best setup. Doesn't get better than this. This is the best setup, right? So I told myself, you know what? If Roblox has the first red day tomorrow, we should see a strong sell-off into the open. We should see a repeat where it really starts to sell off on that first red day and it really starts to fill this gap that's waiting to fill below. You got a gap to fill below 28.58, right? So the initial plan was to buy into the rips and then scale in the last ad where I really scale in is when it cracks the previous closing price and goes red on the day. So that was the game plan. So I started accumulating the puts towards the open. I did get squeezed a little bit. I started getting in right around here when it was at 33.40. I bought the put options. These were the ones that I went with. I played it safe. I went with the $33 strike. I did also pick up the 32 strikes as well, and I started adding as it was like falling right around here. But these were the ones that I picked up. I got in at $1.77. So I got in at $1.70, literally right here towards the top at the time being. And I had conviction. I had conviction in this trade that it was going to crash. And I knew my watch just said the best thing to do right here. This was the update. The best thing to do and the easiest and the safest way to play this. But your entry wouldn't have been as good if you did this, but it would have been a smooth ride. You wouldn't have got squeezed at all. And I did, and this right here, this was the best and smoothest thing you could do is just to wait. As it said right here, is just to wait. Where is it? If Roblox goes green to red, I'll scale into the $32 strikes. Once it goes red, it's basically over. And you could see as soon as the stock went red, which was right here, it was over. This previous closing price right here, this is when Roblox went red, when these contracts went to 230. That's when I started locking in profits in the 240s, 250s for like a 27% win from 177. As soon as it went red, the puts skyrocketed. They went from 230 to 340 in just 10 minutes. All I had to do was hold it for 10 single minutes. So with that being said, in terms of entries, I was looking at the pre-market. I was saying we got a lot of resistance in the pre-market at 33.69. It was looking very bearish in the pre-market. It was slowly chopping down, forming lower highs. It looked like it wanted to come crashing back down to fill the gap that I was waiting to fill at 32.14. If it turns that gap at 32.14 into a resistance level, then it's really going to start to break down. Once it cracks, it's really going to start to go back down to fill the next gap that's waiting to fill below. There was a gap to fill right here at 32.14. Once it cracks, you're looking at a hard sell-off. It's going to attempt to fill this gap at 28.58. But then you have to keep in mind, you have strong support right here with big upside potential. You have strong support in the 2980s with big upside potential. And it bottomed multiple times. It bottomed multiple times at that key support. Obvious confirmation right here with the bullish pins, starting to break out, starting to break above this resistance at 31. Dragonfly Doji, bullish uptrend, all confirmations to be locking in gains and not continuing to hold for that gap filled level. So in terms of selling, what made me sell too soon? Why were the reasons why I sold this so soon, right? Because initially I wanted to start adding. In terms of my watch list, it clearly stated when this hits $32 and goes red, I'm going to start scaling into puts. That's where I started to lock in profits and not scale into puts, right? So what changed? What made me drift away from that plan? A couple things. One, my sleep schedule. My sleep schedule is just so off. It's making me fatigued and not at my best. That's literally one of the reasons why I didn't post a video yesterday, because I was just so exhausted. I'm literally sleeping in like 2 4-hour blocks. I'm on like a crazy sleep schedule right now. It's just so out of whack. I'm trying to fix it. It's just really tough, man. I'm just so adjusted and so used to being like a night owl and just staying up late. But I've been delivering. I've been delivering for members. I've been doing what I'm supposed to do within Trader Society. But it's definitely taken a toll on my mental health. So I got to get that in order. Another reason is, I was looking at my P&L. On this trade, I was initially down 20%. I was aiming for the better entry, playing it riskier. Like I said, the smooth ride and the full confidence was when it goes red. And as soon as it went red, those puts went up an extra 40 to 50%. And I left so much profit on the table. So one of the reasons was my entry. My entry wasn't the best. It wasn't the best entry initially. I was down about 20%, but I was scaling in, so I wasn't worried about like averaging and stuff like that. So that was one of the reasons. Another reason was it really made me emotional. Being down like 20%, and then once I noticed I was up like 35%, and then it started to go out of my favor for a little bit. It went to like 27%. I really became emotional and I didn't want to give any profits. I had some fear that it was going to go green again. I didn't give it enough time for the confirmation. I was looking at that P&L and I was instilling a lot of fear that it can potentially rip at this $32 level, but I wasn't reading the chart. I wasn't looking at what the chart was telling me. What was going through my mind was, this just went from 34 and it filled a gap at 32. So we could have a mini reversal and I could give back that 25% gain that I'm up, and I was just down 20%. So it made me really emotional to just play it safe and lock in the profits. Now, if I were to trade the chart and leave the emotions, leave the P&L, leave everything else out of the trade, there was no reason to sell. The reason why there was no reason to sell is it never went green again. And even if it did went green, it never hit like a max risk. So like, if it cracks 32, we're looking at a big 2-point sell-off. It's going to get crushed, right? So with that being said, the max risk on this from here should be right here. This should be the max risk, 32.70. If you're gonna buy, or if you're gonna hold puts, right? And I had a good entry from here, on this crack below 32. Then your max risk should be this previous support right here at 32.70. And it never even went green. It just kept forming lower highs. It just kept selling off, and it just went straight to that key level very rapidly, very quickly. You could see once it cracks this $32 level, your next support level isn't until 29.80s. So it was just such an easy trade, and I had the right plan. But what really got to me, like I said, sleep schedule's off, so I've been fatigued. And just emotions, man, being down initially and then being up so quickly, and then having that fear that it's going to rip against you and you're going to give back your profits, and you were just down. So it's like, oh my gosh, I don't want to go through this anymore. But it was just, there was no logical reason. There was no logical reason to sell. Now, if this would have ripped back up to like 32.70s and it pushes to like 32.80s, that's a logical reason to sell. But it never went green. It never even went back to previous support, which is so bearish. And it was just a straight bloodbath. Like, it's just straight red candles. There's no reason to be selling into these red candles. I mean, if you get a big pullback like this, and then you start to get some green candles coming in, then that's okay to sell because it already had a massive pullback. But in terms of me locking in gains, I'm locking in gains right here. No reason to sell. So I'm very disappointed on my exit. I really am. I'm extremely disappointed on my exit because there was no reason to sell. And I hate leaving that much on the table. This move, in terms of where my entry was an extra 70% return in 15 minutes. And yeah, I'm stressing about it because people are saying like, yeah, you made the profits, you did good, it was a great trade. But it's like, I could have done so much better if I just traded the chart and not my P&L, not my emotions, not that I was being, down at first and then I was worried that it was going to rip against me, right? Just stick to the plan. The plan is like worst case scenario, it rips up against me, I get out for a smaller win, 5-10%, maybe I step back in. And another reason was my size. That's another reason. My position sizing was a lot bigger. Like I told members, I'm putting in 20% of my account. So when I'm sizing in big like that and I'm staring at my P&L and not trading at the chart, that's another strong reason why I sold too soon. So those are the reasons why I sold it too soon. In terms of exits, well, where do you exit on that situation if it never goes above that 32.60 and you're holding? I mean, right here, this is heavy support with big upside. You exit right around this 30.50 to 29.80 level. When you see on the 5-minute these pins coming in and it's holding and then it starts to rip above this resistance, those are all confirmations to exit. But this was a very easy trade. The most easy part of this trade was like the backside right here when it formed these lower highs, turn this into resistance, right? Turn this into resistance. That's bearish confirmation. And then the crack of 32. All orders were pre-filled out. The plan from the watch list was phenomenal. Say you bought puts right here and you got stopped out. Well, you better rebuy those puts on these lower highs, or when it cracks 32, you better do it because like that's the backside of the move. That's the easy side of the trade, man. I was literally locking in gains into the backside when there was no reason to lock in gains. So that's something I want to work on. I'm trying to do better at that. In terms of K, I did sell K for a loss today. I mean, not today, yesterday. I sold yesterday. I took my 15% L. I took my L. I played it safe, and it did sell off. Some members, they sold for a loss. Other members did very, very well on K. And I literally said right here, I got them out at the perfect time. So within the Leap Options section of the Traders Society chat room, I had stated right here that I sold my puts for a small 15% loss. If you stay in, the max level of risk is 73.89 to 74.90, depending on your position sizing, strategy to scale in, and risk tolerance. And then right here at 10:06 a.m., I had stated that if you held the K-Leap put options lock in your profits. There's a gap to fill at 73.16. It can easily rip back up here this week, making your contracts break even or down with the theta decay. Those who took the extra risk of holding got the reward. Congratulations. So a lot of members were buying puts when this was at like 73 to 73.50, some even at 74 within the past 5 days from this rip. The trade finally worked out. Like I said, the reason why I decided to get out is because there was a gap to fill here at 72.38. It kept holding support. It kept holding support. It kept holding support. Had a little gap close reversal right here. Attempted to break out right here. Attempted to break out right here. And I didn't like the price action. I don't like being in something that's this dead, that lacks the volume, that lacks the volatility, that loses its momentum. It's a fairly tough trade, but it did work out. And we did have members, some members made over 20% on that trade. The puts did print today. And you can literally see as soon as I sent that message out, I sent that out at 10:06 a.m., which was right here. 10:06 a.m. was right here, right here. As soon as I sent that out, this thing skyrocketed and it filled that gap. And members got out. They locked in profits. That was a fairly good trading opportunity. I didn't like the price action. I didn't like the volatility, so I played it safe and exited yesterday. It's all good, man. I already made 3 times back that today with Roblox because I know what the best setup looks like and I know when to scale into a trade. Like I said, the watch list identified to scale bigger into that trade. So now let's get into some of the best setups, man. Let's get into some of the best setups here. SPY. Let's talk about SPY. Last time this occurred, where Paul started talking about SPY, and after he was done talking, SPY ripped up massively. It sold off the next day. It was a fake pump. As you could see, it is down a little bit during extended hours. So the best price for micro puts is going to be 411.34 with a max risk of 412 to 413, depending on your risk tolerance and puts you decide to choose, etc. We got to wait for the backside of the move, wait for it to react to strong resistance at 411.34. If the back side of the move doesn't trigger, then the next level I'm waiting for, and this is going to be the best level where I'm going to hit it with some size, is going to be 429.06. So the main thing I want you to understand with SPY is the make it or break it level is 411.34. That's going to set the tone. If it reacts to strong support, starts to break out, we are going to see a micro flip in the market where we could see a gap fill to 429.06 into next week. Now, if 411 reacts as a resistance, it starts breaking down, the backside of the move occurs, right? Starts forming lower highs, starts failing to break out. Then we will see a sell-off to about $406 to $404 within time. That's my thoughts. That's my analysis. If we crack 408.32, we will be on track for a gap fill to $400 at the end of this week. So the key levels that I'm watching for the SPY in terms of key levels, levels of interest using the gap close reversal strategy, right, are going to be 411, which is the best micro level, 411.34 for the put options. Remember, it has to have the backside of the move. We have to get confirmations. We're not just buying purely based off of the price and off of the history. The middle gap is at $400. Not too interested in trading that one. The lower gap where I would like to buy a call option would be $392.34. The best gap where I would go heavier and consider swing trading would be 429.06. We have to use confirmations. We have to wait for the backside of the move. That's my thoughts. That's the analysis on SPY. Heading in tomorrow, 411.34 is the make it or break it resistance level. 408.32 is the make it or break it support level. If it cracks 408.32, we're looking at a pullback to 404. That's my thoughts. That's my analysis. I want to see how it mainly reacts at those gap levels, playing it fairly safe. Now, let's discuss, and in terms of the VIX does have a gap fill level right here at 25.42. I could see a micro reversal coming in when VIX fills that gap. That's where I start to become long biased and bullish. So pay attention to the 25.42 level on the VIX. In terms of other key levels that I'm looking for in terms of puts. So heading into tomorrow, if the firm can crack this resistance level, right now it's attempting to turn it into a support level. So it has to crack, it has to look bearish. If we can start to see the back side of the move come in on a firm right here at 25.50, if it starts cracking 25.50, I'm looking to play a put option, and the target on that is going to be $24. So I'm looking to play at the money puts with a target of $24 on a firm stock, right? It has to break down, it has to show strong resistance at 25.50. That's what I'm waiting for on that. So it has to have the back side of the move. Now, another stock, and this was a phenomenal opportunity from my previous video. I had a member make 100% return on this one. This is the gap breakout. I told you guys once Upstart can break above this 38.50 and start to react to support, it's going to start to break out and it's going to start to attempt to fill this gap. This was a very nice opportunity. The call options printed like crazy. I went with Roblox because I'm most comfortable with puts versus calls, especially being in a macro bear market. I don't like betting against the macro price action, which is more the midterm to longer term price action, even if I'm micro trading. But the calls exploded, man. Calls were up 300 to 600%. This was a phenomenal gap breakout opportunity. A gap breakout is basically where a stock gaps down. Right here, it gaps down. Take the high of day after close. Once it goes above the high of day after close, which was right here at 38.47, it starts to break out and it starts to fill the gap. That was a great setup. Not too interested in it for the moment, but it is still micro bullish. HRB, I'm waiting for the first red day, man. I'm still waiting for the first red day. I really am. Today it was red, but it didn't have strong enough confirmation, and I liked Roblox a lot better, so I stayed away from it. If you did decide to buy a put on this because it had its first red day, you have to be aware that if it goes red to green on the day, that's a bullish confirmation. And if it starts breaking out the highs, which should be your absolute most risk, you have to play it safe and get out and wait for the next red day. So for this one, I'm waiting for the first red day, man. I'm waiting for that first red day. Once we get it, I'll look to play a put on it for a quick micro trade. I'm patiently waiting for that first red day at the previous closing price, best price, with a tight stop towards high of day. Walmart is getting interesting, man. Walmart can't just keep selling off like this. There's no way, man. This is going to recover. I'm bullish on Walmart. I got to wait for confirmation, though. There's no confirmation to be buying it yet. So I'm waiting. I'm waiting for bullish confirmations to come in. My main idea on this would be a swing trade. And for me to swing trade this, I would need something like this. Just study how when Walmart bottoms. It always bottoms at this key support. It always bottoms when it forms some strong bullish pins, some strong bullish green candles on the daily. So this trade's going to take time. It's on the back burner. But I'm waiting. I'm waiting for some green days to come in. I'm waiting for some consolidation to come in. I want to buy some leap calls within time, potentially on Walmart, but it's just on the back burner for now, man. There's no confirmation. There's no reason to buy yet, so it's just on the back burner. On TTWO, same strategy as a firm. A firm recently had earnings. It had the massive gap up. There's a gap to fill above. Same thing with TTWO. There's a gap to fill at 124.76, right? This is the same setup I showed you on a firm. This is the same setup I showed you on Roblox. You can see the chart is nearly identical. So there's a gap to fill at 124.76. It has not filled the gap. It almost filled it and is starting to pull back. Am I willing to play it as a partial gap close reversal, which means I buy the puts before the gap fills? Yes, on this particular setup, if it's close to the gap fill price, which is at 124.76. So it is currently pretty close to that price. So 124.76 is the best price for puts. My game plan is wait for 124.76, wait for the backside, or wait for the first red day. If it has the first red day, buy puts at the previous closing price. So if this is down tomorrow, 123.08 will be the key confirmation to buy puts, write it back down to about 120. I'm waiting for the first red day on TTWO. This is going to be a great setup, phenomenal trading opportunity. Same strategy as Roblox. If we push above this level, next level I'm waiting to buy puts at 132.96, man. I love this strategy. If it doesn't have a reversal here, it's going to have a reversal here. So if I'm taking slightly bigger size, and if I'm cutting losses quick like I do and try my best to let my wins run, it's always going to be profitable in the long term. That's why these people, man, there was a lot of people talking shit about K. I had so many people commenting saying, oh, you're going to be wrong about this trade. It's going to be an L. It's like, yeah, I took my L and it still worked out. It worked out. The puts were up over 30%, but I took my L for a small 15% loss. I hit Roblox with some size because it was a way better setup, made 3 times the cost of my loss back. It's like, win rate doesn't matter. I can post a video saying a stock's going to crash. It doesn't matter if the stock crashes or not. It's always going to work in the long term if you understand the strategy of risk management, position sizing, trying your best to let the wins run a little bit, and cutting your losses quickly. For me, cutting my losses quickly is defined by 15 to 20%. I typically never have more than 2 losses in a row. So if I have 2 losses in a row, that's confirmation for me to scale up automatically because it just doesn't happen for me. And when I see a better setup, like I identify, like Roblox, when I see that better setup, I'm gonna hit it with more size. Roblox was a 10 times better setup than K. So I hit it with size and made back my losses just like that. And K did work. It's not that I wasn't impatient, it's that I didn't want to take the risk of holding any further because I didn't like the price action. I didn't like what the chart was turning into. And some people chose to take that extra risk and they made money. Some people chose to not take that extra risk and they lost some money, but they made it all back already with Roblox. So that's what I'm gonna keep doing, man. That's sort of just people, they just don't understand. Like, this trading isn't about having this high win rate. My win rate's at 70%. It doesn't need to be a 70%. That's just icing on the cake. Like, that should be your least concern, is like having a high win rate. You need to master this risk management, position sizing. One thing I'd recommend for those of you who have smaller accounts, use a cash account with Webull. I'm not sponsored by them. I don't make any money promoting them. Use a small cash account with Webull, trade the options and trade them lightly, trade them small. Try to make like a 1% return on the day. Or you can even try scaling even lower. Try to make like a 0.10% return, or a 0.25% return, and then risk like half of that or 1/3 of that, ideally 1/3 of that. Like, start small, start very small. You have to get a feel for this. Most people are going to lose in the beginning because there's so much more to learn about trading these options and about how this really works out. But once you get it, once you clicks and you're disciplined, you can really start to scale that account exponentially. But until you don't have that click, like, it's best to really start off with small size first. So yeah, those are the top plays that I'm seeing. JMIA, I'm waiting for the first red day on this one. There's a gap to fill at 782. If we can have the back side of the move at 782, I'll look to play the puts at that one. Same strategy, same setup as TTWO firm. See how many opportunities are. We're seeing a lot of these earnings where they gap up. That same pattern has been occurring lately. So these puts are going to continue to print, man. I don't like betting against the macro, even if I'm micro trading. And then in terms of K, that was that macro kicked in. The macro finally kicked in. It kicked in today. And then it ripped back up to green. It's pretty crazy. It ripped back up to fill that gap. But I'm staying away from this one because I don't like the way it trades. I don't like the lack of volatility and the lack of volume. VERU is on the radar as well. So in terms of VERU, what I'm potentially seeing is something like this. See how it has this green day, and then the middle day is kind of red. The middle day is kind of off here. And then a nice green day, push for highs, push for highs. Next day, it gaps up, and then that's the end. It sells off hard. I'm waiting to do some puts on this one. I really am. I'm waiting for confirmation. It's just, you got to be very careful because, this really exploded. This was at $25. You got to be extremely careful. It's got a $50 price target. There is some gaps to fill below. Eventually, this will be a $9 stock. So I'm waiting for some sort of confirmation to maybe do a swing trade or to do a quick day trade, kind of both. You can already see it had a massive rip up. So what we can see heading into tomorrow is something like this, where we get this bearish candle. And if we do get that bearish candle, I will look to swing and it should sell off and have the first red day the next day. So that's the main trade idea. Just kind of wait to see how it looks like at the close. If it looks bearish like this, if it looks bearish like this, swing some puts overnight, scale in towards market open if it looks bearish towards the previous closing price. That's my main game plan for that one. I do believe we're due for that pullback. We're due for that crash. So 1750, it recently topped. Right here, it just topped at 1720. So the best entry would be 1750. You got to use tight stops on this one because it could squeeze hard. And yeah, we'll have to see. There's a gap to fill at 1560. I do believe we're going to fill that gap at 1560. So we'll see how it reacts at that gap fill level at 1560. I believe by tomorrow, not by tomorrow, I believe it could fill by tomorrow. If not, I believe by Thursday, that gap can fill. If it turns 1560 into resistance and it cracks, it's going to be a bloodbath. If it turns it into support, it's going to rocket back up to about 1660s. So I'm just keeping an eye on it, man. I'm keeping a close eye on this one. I want to do a put. I've been patiently waiting on that situation. Just need a strong bearish confirmation. So the top setups that I'm watching into tomorrow are going to be Jamia, TTWO, VERU, and Affirm. Other setups that are on the radar as well. Bumble is getting interesting. I'm waiting to do a leap put option on this one. I'm willing to do a leap put option on this one. I'm waiting for it to form some bearish candlesticks on the daily, consolidate towards some resistance, towards some highs. Key levels of interest, $28.05, and the best level, $29.53. Looking to do some micro puts. Once we get the bearish confirmations, which is the daily chart, you have to wait for the daily chart to form bearish candlesticks to consolidate for a few days, turn dark blue on the squeeze. See how it turns dark blue on the squeeze right here. Then it starts selling off, right? All bearish confirmations. There's going to be a great leap option put on this opportunity, just like VERU. We just got to wait for the confirmations. We got to wait for it to sit at the top like we did with K. We got to wait for it to form the bearish candlesticks to trigger dark blue on the squeeze. We got to wait. We're not getting premature entries. We're trading the best setups at the best prices. That's the key. You got to trade them at the best prices. There's so many people who are trading great setups, great strategies, but they're not getting in at the best prices. They're going to get squeezed. They're going to chase. They're going to give back all their money. Trade the best setup at the best prices. So that's what I'm waiting for on Bumble. That's an upcoming trade idea that's going to print very well. Roblox is a little interesting, man. It's getting a little interesting here because we have this gap to fill 28.50. So for Roblox, the make it or break it level is $32. If it reacts at $32 if we break under 31.94 tomorrow, I'll probably play puts again with a max risk at 32.70. If it starts forming resistance towards this level, I might show some interest in playing puts. I'm keeping an eye on it. It's not going to be an easy trade from here because there's already been two phenomenal trading opportunities using this strategy with the puts. But if we can crack under 31.90, I think we're going to sell off again back to $30. So I'm keeping an eye on Roblox for that key breakdown. Those are the top setups on my radar. Some upcoming leaps with Bumble, with VERU for the swings. Got to wait for the confirmations. Some upcoming day trades potentially. Upcoming leap as well as Walmart. Upcoming day trades, Jamia, TTWO, VERU as well can be a day trade. That's going to be a tough day trade though. Affirm, Roblox, possibly even Bumble as well. Some day trading and some leap opportunities on both. So yeah. That's going to wrap this video lesson, guys. I'm telling you, these setups that I'm putting you on, if you watch my last video, you see how phenomenal they worked out. It's going to happen again, man. Some phenomenal trading opportunities coming up. You got to use the confirmations. You got to get in at the best prices, lock in the gains, minimize losses at 20% of the contracts. I'm going to be wrapping it up here. So if you do want to get in on Trader Society, it's going to be the first link down below in the description. I'm telling you guys, we have some members absolutely killing it. We did also just add a Tesla channel. We have two channels dedicated to two separate things. We have the Tesla channel. We have the SPY channel. We have the trading floor. That's where we discuss all stocks. We have the watch list. We have my real-time trade alerts for day trades. We have my real-time trade alerts for the leap options, the passive income swing trades. We have the live trading session. Every single day at Market Open, I go live. We get to watch me trade live, see my portfolio, see me enter, see me exit, see me trade my plans, my price alerts live after we get the confirmation. Once we get the confirmation from the watch list, see me execute these trades live. That's the most value of this program. And then, of course, the community, the networking opportunities. We got people killing it, man. Right here, 19% return on K Leaps. Quick scalp on SPY, 10% return. Very, very nicely done. 27% return on EVGO call options, 111% return on his portfolio, absolutely on the portfolio, absolutely killing it. JD's 1.580% on the day. You compound these returns, they add up exponentially like crazy. It's going to take time, but you could change your life in 1 year with a more conservative options trading style instead of going all in. I'm typically sizing in 10 to 20% of my portfolio, depending on the setup. Alex G, man, absolutely crushing, man, on the portfolio. Very nicely done. I made 7.52% on the day. Harry crushed it with multiple quick scalps. Big shout out to him. 2.54% return for James on the day. A1 setup, Johnny, very, very nicely done. 146% return following the plan within the watch list and going with that $32 at the money strike on Roblox. Like I said, man, I sold it so soon for 27%. My puts were up 100% at one point. Sold it way too soon. I explained to you why, so that should help you out as well. Very nicely done, 15% return on a 15-minute trade. Harry's been killing it. And VZ, man, big shout out to him, $1,400 on the morning. That's more than 3 times the cost of Trader Society on just one trade. Riser has been killing it, man, 71% return. and up 8% return on the portfolio. Very, very nicely done, man. Already recouped the loss. He's one of the people who cut the loss quickly on K. Already recouping that loss. Very nicely done. So yeah, that's what we do, man. We come back strong. We cut losses quickly. So Keith, 4% return on the day. Lee, man, Lee's been killing it. He's quit his job in 2 weeks. He went from 5 figures to 6 figures. He's now quit his job, all from trading Tesla. He actually inspired us to kind of create this Tesla channel as well. Because if you can master one stock like Tesla or one thing like SPY, that's all you need, man, is something like that. I just stick to mastering one simple strategy that I use on multiple stocks, which is that gap close reversal to fill the gap below. But yeah, man, you guys have been absolutely killing it. Look at least $7,000. Man, big shout out to him, man. He's quitting his job. Like, that's a huge milestone. 6 figures and being able to quit your job is a huge milestone. Once you get to 6 figures, as long as you're disciplined, it's a lot easier to make money trading options. It really is. You can do some things with risk management and sizing. There's a lot of unfair advantages. But he earned it because he didn't start out that way. So big shout out to him, man. That's a huge milestone. I mean, just the 1% return is $1,000. You can all we need, man, you hit like 3 good trades a week, call it. That's like multiple thousands of dollars. And yeah, it adds up, man. It's like 15, 20K plus a month. But he scales in a little bit heavier than that, so it's a lot more. But yeah, that's gonna wrap up this session. So if you guys do want to be a part of Trader Society, it's the first link down below in the description. Click that link. Watch the short video, read everything that's explained on the page. If you feel it's the right fit for you, if you'd like to be a part of this community where we're dedicated to trading these gap trading strategies that are consistently making us money within the stock market over the long term, we'd love to have you. We'd love to work with you, man. If you feel like you're the right fit for us, it's all explained within that first page. As soon as you join, it's a one-time fee. It's lifetime access. And you get instant access to everything. So the live trading sessions we do every single day live at Market Open. You can also watch the recordings of those live trading streams. Say you missed out, or say you want to rewatch the live trading stream for educational purposes. You can go ahead and do that. You could see the trades that I made on Roblox today within those streams, within the recordings. So yeah, you also get access to the watch list, the stock analysis, the chat room, all the channels within the chat room, the real-time trade alerts. And there's a lot more to it, man. The video lesson library is going to teach you all the gap trading strategies, how to find these stocks, how to trade the best setups at the best prices, how to identify the best setup. So for me, I identified the best setup was Roblox. That was the only thing on my watch list because that was the best setup. It's really going to help you out. It's going to help grow your account exponentially, and it's really going to help open your third eye to showing you how to find, identify, and trade the best setups at the best prices. I'm looking forward to it, man. I'm looking forward to working with you guys. I'm very excited. I'm going to be in New York City very, very soon, staying at a nice place. I'm going to be meeting up with a student who has surpassed 6 figures. We have a couple people within Trader Society who have surpassed over 6 figures. We have 1 or 2 people who are at 7 figures, and we have one guy who's at 9 figures. I'm going to be meeting up with one of them who's absolutely killing it, man. He played Roblox puts today, and he played calls on the dip because it bombed out that key support, very low risk trade. He's been absolutely crushing it, and I'm looking forward to meeting up with him as well. So yeah, we're gonna film some content, have a great time. So that should be fun too. But yeah, guys, I'm looking forward to it. I will see you guys tomorrow live at Market Open, and peace.